Viewers, the Sahara Desert, the largest and driest desert in the world, is a place where the sun burns everything by day and freezing winds cut through the bones by night. For centuries, people have called it the land of death. But recently, something extraordinary happened that left the world speechless. President Ibrahim Traoré released thousands of camels into the Sahara. The question is, why? Why would a leader set free thousands of camels in a barren, lifeless land? And how could these animals possibly change the fate of the desert? For years, vast parts of Africa have been trapped in drought. Rain has almost disappeared. Rivers have dried up. Grasslands and pastures have vanished. Farmers are abandoning their lands. Animals are dying of hunger, and entire communities are on the brink of collapse. Ibrahim Traoré realized that if no bold step was taken soon, millions would be forced to leave their homes, and this region would become a graveyard of dust forever. The biggest problem was the land itself. It had turned into stone, hard, infertile, and lifeless. Small projects like dams and irrigation were no longer enough. Local villagers said, "This land will never be green again." But Traoré thought differently. He said, "If we must save the land, we need an idea as extraordinary as the desert itself." That's when a unique solution appeared: camels. Camels are not ordinary animals. They can survive for weeks without water, eat thorny shrubs, and walk miles across sand without sinking. Traoré believed that if thousands of camels were released into the Sahara, they would not only survive, they could help bring the land back to life. At first, many people laughed. "How can camels change the earth?" they asked. "They just walk and wander." But when thousands of camels were set free into the desert, everything began to change. The camels started moving across the dry plains, eating thorny bushes and spreading seeds through their droppings. Their constant movement softened the hard soil, allowing wind and rain to reach the ground once again. The camels began eating the dry, thorny bushes, the very ones that had kept the soil hard and lifeless for centuries. For the first time in generations, the land began to breathe again. Tiny seeds, buried deep in the sand for years, finally started to sprout. Viewers, watch until the end, because what happens next will truly shock you. Imagine this: thousands of camels walking across endless golden dunes. Their heavy steps shake the sand. The stubborn bushes disappear, and soon tiny green plants begin to rise from the ground. Birds return to the skies. Insects and small creatures crawl back into the soil. And in what was once called the dead land, life begins to return. And as the camels walked, their feet created small pits in the sand. When the rare desert rains came, instead of water running off or evaporating, it now stayed trapped in these tiny hollows. That water slowly seeped into the earth, forming small ponds. For the first time in centuries, the Sahara began to hold water. But this miracle did not come easily. Managing thousands of camels in such a harsh climate was a massive challenge. They needed water, salt, and constant protection from disease. Many camels fell ill. Some even died. Critics began to laugh. They said, "This project will fail. The desert cannot be tamed." But Ibrahim Traoré refused to give up. He brought the local people into the mission. Each tribe was given responsibility to monitor and protect the camels. GPS collars were placed on the animals so every movement could be tracked. Scientists and environmental experts joined hands with the villagers. Slowly, the plan began to work. Within just a few years, the results were breathtaking. Where there was once only sand and thorns, grass began to grow. Pastures formed again. Animals found food once more. Local people started returning to their villages. Birds filled the skies that had long been silent. The Sahara, once seen as the world's most hopeless land, was beginning to come back to life. And soon, songs of joy began to echo through the winds of the desert. The camels were not just softening the soil, they were laying the foundation of a new ecosystem. Small animals returned. Seeds began to sprout. Water started seeping deep into the ground. Experts observed something extraordinary. The presence of camels was changing the temperature and humidity of the land itself. The sand dunes were no longer burning hot. Moisture levels in the soil were rising. Tiny streams, once lost to time, began to flow again. It was living proof that working with nature is the key to saving humanity. Farmers began planting their fields once more. Shepherds rejoiced as green pastures reappeared for their herds. A new hope was born in the local communities. People started believing in the future of their land again. This transformation wasn't just about the desert, it was about the rebirth of human life and spirit. Sometimes the greatest solutions to the world's biggest problems don't lie in modern technology, but in nature itself. Small actions can bring great miracles. When humans live in harmony with nature, the impossible becomes possible. Just imagine it. In the harshest desert on Earth, life is returning. Thousands of camels, through a simple act, are changing the destiny of the land. It's a reminder to the entire world. With wisdom, effort, and harmony with nature, even the most impossible dreams can come true. Even in the unforgiving sands of the Sahara, life can rise again. And it was Ibrahim Traoré and his thousands of camels who proved this to the world.